Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a no-bake lemon cheesecake. I'm going to do a couple of different cheesecakes and this is the first one I'm going to do. It's a lemon cheesecake, there's no artificial flavours, so you will need lemons. You could, however, substitute limes. So what I have here, I've got my biscuits, about 250 grams. This is a mixture of digestive biscuits and shortcake biscuits, but as with any cheesecake, you can use whatever biscuit takes your fancy. I'm using around about 90 grams of butter and margarine, half butter, half margarine, and that's only because I ran out of butter. That's not, for any particular reason. You may not need all of this butter, it depends on your biscuits, but it's better to have a little bit extra because if there's not enough butter, then unfortunately it won't stick together, it'll be really crumbly. I've got 2 lemons here, but I might use a third. I've already washed and these are unwaxed lemons. They're sort of medium size, but you could use a really large lemon and just use one. I've got 75 grams of caster sugar. If you can't get caster sugar, use powdered sugar or icing sugar over using granulated sugar. It's going to give you a much better texture, a smoother texture. 300 grams of full fat cream cheese. I'm using Sainsbury's, but you can use anything you like. Philadelphia works really well. Make sure that you use a full fat one, not a low fat one, because the water content in a low fat one is much higher than a full fat one. It means it won't set, you get a weird consistency. You're much better just going for it and going full fat. And this is fresh double cream. I've got 150 mils of that, and this is a 300 gram pack. I also have here a flan tin, but you can use anything you like. I have a piece of non-stick parchment on the bottom. That is optional. This is non-stick anyway, so I don't really need it, but it's just a little bit of extra security for me. So that's there. So we've got to do this in 2 stages. The first stage is to make the base, and if you've ever made a cheesecake before, you'll know how easy it is. I'm going to melt this in the pan, I'm going to crush these, I'm going to add this to this, consistency of wet breadcrumbs, wet sand, and then I'm going to put it into my tin. I'm going to push it all the way up the sides, and I'll show you that, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge. And you need to leave it in there for at least half an hour because you want it to be really, really cold. Then we're just going to put together the rest of our ingredients, make the topping, put it all together, and then it needs to go into the fridge. The minimum amount of time that a cheesecake, I feel, needs in the fridge is 4 hours. Anything before that, it will taste kind of fine, but the consistency won't be right, it'll still be too soft. So minimum 4 hours in the fridge, but ideally overnight. And that's what makes it great for parties and barbecues and that sort of thing, because you can make it in advance, a day or 2 days in advance, and it's still going to be great when you take it out later. So I'm going to show you the first part just really quickly, and then I'll show you the second part, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. This is what it looks like now that I've done. I've put all the crumbs in the bottom and I've packed it in nice and tightly, and I've gone up the sides a little bit as well, as you can see. This is not a necessity, you don't need to do this. If you did just want to have it flat all the way around, you could do that as well, that's absolutely fine. It just means the bottom would be a tiny bit thicker. Just so you know, this is a 9-inch tin. You'd have a much thicker base if you use an 8-inch tin, so it depends completely on what you like. So I'm going to put this in the fridge now for half an hour at least, so that it's really, really cold, and then I'm going to move on to the filling. So we're on to the next stage. As you can see, I've already put my 300 grams of full fat cream cheese into my mixer, and I've already zested 2 lemons. So I'm just going to mix this together quickly until it's smooth. Seems pretty smooth. So I'm going to add in my 150 millilitres of full fat cream. And I'm going to mix it. As an optional touch, you can add half the juice of a lemon Just make sure you don't get any pips in there. And then just give it a really quick mix. The final part now is to just add the topping to the base. The easiest way to get a nice smooth surface is to just give it a shake. And there we go. So I'm just going to pop this in the fridge. It's going to be in there for at least 4 hours. But actually, for me, it'll be overnight. So I will give you a picture of this, of what it looks like sliced and ready to go tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.